Hi, I'm Haesley Cush, and this is the Landlord update for living here for the month of April. Well, I know we've caught up a bit over the last month with all of the changes to legislation and everything going on in this COVID-19 cloud that we find ourselves in at the moment. But in line with our monthly stats, I just wanted to keep you updated just more generally as to what's happening in the market. We have seen the area that has been most affected in the practicality of managing properties has been obviously arrears, which we've been keeping a close eye on and updating you on. And the other one is general vacancies, so the letting of real estate. And of all real estate sectors in the residential space, this is the area that we are really watching closely. In a lot of ways can be much more expensive than arrears. I'll give you a snapshot of the month that we've just had. We rented 22 properties for the month, 13 of those under 500, 5 between 500 and 1,000, and 4 over 1,000. Now, for those of you that follow these monthly updates, you'd hear 22 and it should catch your ear. Last April 2019, we rented 52 for the month. And if I go back to 2018, 38 for the month. So it showed that in the market at the moment, days on market is stretching, and that's a lot to do with the way that tenants will behave, agents will behave inside that letting space. So social distancing stopped a lot of open houses, changed the way we would inspect, and a lot of tenants then opting maybe to stay inside their leases, and a lot of people waiting to see what those legislative changes would be when they came out. So we've been working with your tenant to hold them into the leases. And for those of you that have vacant properties right now, I want you to know that we are working around the clock to try to ensure that we find tenants for those properties. We are investing heavily in social media as well to try to promote some inquiry through those channels. And we're putting a lot of weight behind vacant properties, as well, of course, all the other areas, and managing arrears every single morning still as a group. I thought I'd update you that I had my first court case this week at QCAT due to COVID-19 with some tenants, one a nurse and one a shop assistant for bonds. Unfortunately, the tenant who's a shop assistant lost her job, but the other tenant who was a nurse still kept her job. And the tenants were advised to apply immediate to QCAT under extreme hardship, and that was at the beginning of April, okay, before the legislation changes came into place. Those legislative changes were backdated until the 29th of March. And as you know, we as an office have been keeping right up to speed with those changes. And I represent all of you when we go to QCAT on those rare occasions that we need to. And in this case this week, we were able to effectively argue, and it was an argument or a discussion with the adjudicator and the tenant, that whilst we empathise with everybody in this situation, that one of the tenants still had their job, and that tenant made $70,000 a year. The other tenant did lose her job, but she made $30,000 a year. And so based on the new parameters that we've got, that does not lead to extreme hardship. It leads to mediation, and we hadn't had the opportunity to mediate because we'd come straight to this environment of QCAT. I also pointed out that the owner of that property is an administrator, and the owner of that property made less than the $70,000 that the tenant made. So all we were doing, if we let the tenants out of their lease, was taking hardship from one party and placing that hardship on another party. And thankfully, the adjudicator agreed, and they sent us back to negotiate with the tenant to find resolution and a successful outcome that shared the burden, which is what they're looking for. We haven't got there yet. We're still negotiating with the tenant, but I just thought I'd update you as to a live case study as to what's happened in the last month. We're still meeting every day as a group, really concentrating on arrears, really concentrating on vacant properties and all the other aspects of managing your investment properties. Please reach out if you need anything. We are here to support and help you. And thanks again for tuning in.